What if you had a tenant who performed services for you in exchange for some kind of help with their rent? If you have any questions about this topic, you can leave them in the comments section below and I'll do my best to help you. And of course, if you feel the video helped you, I hope you will click like and don't forget to subscribe to get updates on new videos that come out all the time. What happened between you and the tenant? Well, you agreed with the tenant for a decrease on rent receivable in exchange for receiving some services from that tenant. In that case, the agreed upon monthly rent is still the same. The tenant simply gets a specific break for a specific amount for each service that the tenant performs. Please note, however, you should not assume that the tenant will always perform the service and then lower the agreed upon rent permanently. If you do that, then there would be no records of the real rent and the value of the service that they are getting a rent deduction for. Instead, the tenant's records should show both the rent you earned and the amount of each decrease for each service or each set of services that they rendered. If you do it that way, the right way, you are much less likely to have conflict with your tenant regarding the services they are giving for a decrease in rent. So how do we set up for this in your QuickBooks records? Well, you must have an expense in the chart of accounts to record the expenses incurred when receiving the tenant's service. For example, if the tenant cleans the house once a week for a $50 reduction in rent, the expense you incur is cleaning expense. And at the moment they clean, you acquire that expense. The rent credit they get has the same result as if you paid them directly for the cleaning. You must have an item on the items list for cleaning services rendered. So, we must set up the item for the cleaning services rendered from the tenant. Here we are in QuickBooks, and if we open the chart of accounts, you can see that we already have an account called Cleaning Expense. It's right here. Now we have to go to the items list. Items list. Now, what do we call this? After we put cleaning expense into the chart of accounts, we will put the item on the items list called Reduction for Cleaning Services. So, on the bottom left of the items list, we click Item, New, and of course it's a service, and the name is Reduction for Cleaning Services. Okay? Now the account it's connected to is obviously the cleaning expense account. Now we click OK, and now we have a new service on the items list that we can put on a credit memo or an invoice in order to record receiving the cleaning service from the tenant. So, for example, let's imagine back on October 1 of 2020, we agreed with the tenant Candy she would clean the hallway and common areas of the Meadow Lane property 2 or 3 times a week. She will receive a $50 rent credit for each time that she cleans. Now, the right way to record this is to make a credit memo for each time that she cleans. So let's imagine on October 10, Candy did 1 session of the agreed upon cleaning. How would we record receiving the service on October 10? Well, very simple. We click Customers, Create Credit Memo. And all we do is put in the information October 10 And I believe in our little story, it's October 10 of 2020. Now, what did Candy do for us? Well, we have to choose Candy, and the item of service that she performed was reduction for cleaning service, the item that we just made. And we put in the amount $50 and push tab. Now, when we save this document, which proves and clarifies that she performed that specific service on that specific date, after we save it, okay, we just don't worry about this, we can go to the tenant's rent report, which is right here, rent balances, and you can see in Candy's records that her balance just decreased by the $50 that we just recorded because she performed the service for us. Okay, now what about this? Let's imagine on October 21, Candy did another session of cleaning. If she did another session of cleaning, then on October 21, we have to make another credit memo. Same exact thing. October 21 was the other day that Candy cleaned, and the item is reduction for cleaning service, the item we just made, and the break we're giving her for that session is $50. When we save this one, you can see that we now have an additional decrease in Candy's balance for the credit memo we gave for the service she just performed. And that's what we would do every time she cleans. Now, let's make the October rent invoice, and at the moment we do that, we will apply the credits to that invoice. So, let's take a look at how to do that. You would make the invoice normally. You would click invoice, and the date of the October invoice would be October 31 because we earned October's rent on October 31. We will choose Candy, and the item is monthly rent in this case, or rent due. Now, of course, Candy pays $1,000 a month in rent. That's what the actual rent is. But after we fill out the normal invoice for earning the monthly rent, we have to make sure the main tab is chosen so that we can click Apply Credits and click Yes so that we can apply the credits. And what credits are we applying? Well, this is credits specifically for Candy. This $50 credit will decrease this rent invoice, and this $50 credit for cleaning will also decrease this October rents invoice. And then we click Done, and you can see that Candy now only owes us $900 for the October rent instead of $1,000 because we applied $100 worth of the credits for the cleaning that she did. Click Save and Close, and you can see the balance now of Candy goes back down to zero because she has earned $100 of the rent, and she already had $900 prepaid from before, but I think you get the idea. Now, please note, it's better to see each individual instance where she cleaned and see what we actually charge her in rent rather than summarize them together so we don't see what's going on.